Okay. Oh, shit. Oh my gosh. One of these days, I will clean out my car, or try to. Hi there, YouTube. Oh, okay. Oh, God. It's interesting lighting right now. Should I pull forward a little bit? It's been a while since I've done a stream in the dark like this. I'm just kind of, this video right now is kind of just to be a little bit of an update, and also mostly like a testing 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, because I have been having a lot of issues with my streams lately, with my live streams on here for the past few videos, past handful of videos or so, especially ever since I switched my cellular service over to my internet provider this past Saturday. So it's been almost a week. Today is, yeah, Thursday. So it's been almost a week since then, but not quite. Although I will say I was actually starting to have issues with my streams even before I did that. So I've been trying my best to do what research I can do in my spare time, or like, you know, when I can manage to squeeze that in. But I've also had some issues going on with my car this past week or so and recently. So I actually did that stuff earlier today for my car. And thank gosh, I think that went okay. But yeah, I just wanted to do this video now because I just got back from the internet store. I was able to get over there before they closed today / tonight, I guess. It's obviously nighttime now, pretty much. And I talked to them about how my streams the quality has been like an issue lately, with them interrupting and being staticky and choppy and kind of freezing up a lot recently. And they said that their opinion on that right now, what I should maybe try is shutting the Wi-Fi off on my phone and switching it over to the 5G. I'll be honest, I really don't understand what exactly that means, but I tried my best to act like I kind of did. Okay, so they showed me on my phone how to do that. So I guess because I'm actually in a grocery store parking lot right now. This is very close to the area where that internet store is. It's just kind of right up the road from there, actually. And this is also a very close location to where I usually do my live streams, which is the strip club that I work at. It's the parking lot there. So all 3 of these locations, the strip club parking lot, the internet store parking lot, and this grocery store parking lot where I am right now, they're all in very close proximity to each other, pretty much just right up the road from each other. And so yeah, the guy at the internet store, it was actually the same person that I talked to last Saturday and that switched my phone over with me last Saturday. They said that when you're not on 5G, the good thing about that is that it can save data on your phone. okay? Whatever that means. Um, and, but I guess basically when you're not on 5G, your phone is trying to pick up whatever Wi-Fi signal is in the area that it can manage to get onto. So, and they asked me, they were like, you know, but that actually kind of made a little bit of sense to me because obviously the strip club parking lot, I'm assuming, I want to think that the past few streams that I was doing from there, the Wi-Fi there, people, that's probably a pretty busy spot for people to be on the Wi-Fi, I would think. You know, like that's a busy area, that's a busy spot and a busy place, even when it's slow, you know, like, which it has been very slow there a lot lately, recently for a while. But even with that being the case, there's still a lot of other businesses around in that same parking lot and just, yeah, all around this area. And the people that are in the strip club, even if it's just like other strippers and dancers and employees, we're pretty much all on the Wi-Fi and we're pretty much all on our phones. So when he said that, it did kind of make a little bit of sense to me with why that might be the case, why that might have been an issue with my streams lately. So they showed me how to switch off from the Wi-Fi and onto the 5G option on my phone. So I'm pretty sure, I mean, I did that just now before I started the stream. So I'm pretty sure this is gonna be my first stream doing it this way on the 5G option like they recommended. So yeah, I kind of wanted to do this. I didn't want to like wait to do this. I wanted to try to figure this out as quickly as possible. So yeah, even though it's dark out, I wanted to just do this stream now just to test it out and just to see if having this on the Wi-Fi, or I'm sorry, on the 5G option might hopefully make a difference and improve the stream quality, the upload speed, that kind of thing. Because I apologize, I know my last few videos were really bad, like as far as the quality, just really lagging and very staticky and blurry and choppy. And yeah, when I watched those back on my phone and my laptop afterwards, I was like so disappointed because otherwise I kind of liked the videos themselves, like what I was talking about. And I felt like I was in, despite the stuff that's been going on recently with my car and my phone and just the struggles with that, I felt like despite that, you know, I was still in a pretty good mood for those videos and kind of just like, you know, wearing my earmuffs and like finding stuff to laugh about regardless. And so it really bummed me out that those videos were lagging and as bad of a quality as they were, because otherwise I was like, well, I would have liked the videos otherwise, you know what I mean? So I'm really interested to see how this one ends up coming out, you know, with the 5G option with this. I just have to remember, I'm going to say it out loud right now because I just have to remember to switch it back over, shut the 5G off and put the Wi-Fi option back on after I'm finished with this stream, because I guess, yeah, the 5G does use more data. So I don't know, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out as best I can, but I'm just really glad that I was able to get over to the internet store earlier today, because I've kind of just been going, like, not rushing around, but going around all day, like just running errands and trying to do stuff. I didn't work at the club today. I don't hardly ever work on Thursdays at the club. I usually take Thursdays off, but I was also, I had a car appointment for my car earlier today, and I also, you know, have just been doing a few other things. I also called my previous cellular provider, and it took quite a few tries to get through to a human or just through it all that way with them, to try to ask them a few questions about what they might think about what's been going on with my phone recently. I really don't want to have to switch back or like do anything different with my phone if you know, because I already just made a big change with it this past Saturday. So I'm really, really hoping that this video does well as far as the stream quality and upload speed and stuff, and post okay, so on this 5G option. But with my car earlier, that was really stressful because I did work at the club last night. It was my 4th shift in a row doing a 10-hour shift. I did 10-hour shifts Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then last night, which was Wednesday. And originally I was kind of thinking that I was gonna end up trying to pull an all-nighter after working last night, because I originally had 2 car appointments for today, and one of them was for very early in the morning, and one of them was for this afternoon. So I'm very bad at making decisions with things, and originally when I called both places, I was kind of like just trying to get a price comparison and that kind of thing. And when I looked up the pictures and the reviews online from my laptop a couple of days ago for this stuff, the appointment that I had early in the morning, they did have a pretty good sized couch in their waiting room. So whereas the place that I ended up going to this afternoon instead had I had been there before, and their waiting room was still okay, but they just have regular chairs kind of. So I was kind of thinking, the place that I was thinking about maybe going to this morning, if I had pulled an all-nighter, you know, they had a couch, so I was kind of thinking, well, yeah, it'll suck to pull an all-nighter, but at least they have a couch, so I can kind of just lay back and relax on there, hopefully. And I was also thinking about maybe going with that one because their price was lower, and I'm always trying to go with the cheapest option, pretty much, unfortunately. I obviously don't like to be that way, but just with how my situation and circumstances, you know, are, and how my situation is and my circumstances are, singular and plural, you know, anyway, so oh, but I also was thinking about maybe going to the place that I had an appointment with for this morning, because that's the one that my favorite manager at the club had recommended to me. I've never been there before, but both places had pretty good reviews online, pretty similar. They were both over 4 stars. The one that I did end up going with today had a slightly higher rating, but not by that much. I think the one from this morning was 4.1 stars, and the one that was this morning, and then the one that I went to this afternoon was 4.7. I just remember the place that I went to this afternoon, I had only been to once before, and that was a few years back, but I do remember that I had really liked it there. I thought they did a good job. I liked the people. I liked the waiting room. I mean, that waiting room didn't have a couch, but other than that, it was pretty nice. So I don't know though, the one from this morning it did have lower prices, and that was the one that my favorite manager had recommended, and they're somebody that usually really seems to know what they're talking about with stuff, and just they just seem to know a lot of stuff about almost everything practically, it seems. So they had actually come out to the parking lot at the strip club, I don't know, a few days ago, maybe last week, pretty recently, to look at my car and to look at my tires. It was funny because when I first noticed the issue, I try not to go to them and ask them too many things because I don't want to bother them, and I'm shy, and I don't know, I feel like they've already helped me out with so many things before that I don't want to keep asking them for stuff. So originally when I noticed the issue with the brakes in my car, I tried to ask one of the floor hosts, and I don't even know this guy's name, or I do now. I know their name now because I asked somebody else what it was. I asked the manager what it was. So I was I didn't want to originally go to the manager because I just don't want to bother them, I guess, and I'm shy, and I've asked them for stuff before. So I originally tried to ask the floor host if he knew anything about cars. That night, the people that were working, I just found a floor host, and I was like, hey, blank space, do you know anything about cars? And he was like, I don't, but I'm pretty sure the manager does. So I was like, oh, go figure. But I didn't ask him to ask the manager. He just did it by himself. I was just like, oh, okay. And then I didn't, even after he said that, I still didn't go to the manager, and I didn't ask the floor host to ask the manager either. I just like left it at that, and I was like, whatever, I'll just go on Google. But then I don't know. I forget exactly how it went, but I'm pretty sure he just like asked the manager himself. I'm pretty sure the manager, no, you know what happened? Like a few minutes later, or like very, very shortly afterwards, that same floor host comes back over to me and tells me that the manager had already gone outside to the parking lot to look at my tires and stuff, and like to take a look at my car, like from the outside and like in the parking lot. And this was, like I said, this was very shortly afterwards, and I still hadn't like asked the manager myself or asked the floor guy to talk to the manager either. So I was just like, what? Okay, wow, really? So anyway, so after that, yeah, like the manager and I talked, and he told me like it looked like I was gonna need probably brake pads and possibly new rotors as well, just from what he could see from the outside with the tires and stuff. And he showed me like with a flashlight, and it was like dark out already by then when we were doing this, and stuff like that. So oh, and then that's when I asked him, I was like, oh, by the way, like, what's that guy's name? What's the floor host? What's his name? And do you know what though? It's not just like, okay, because this is the thing. It's not like I'm just like that kind of person. I am really bad with names, but also dancers, we meet a lot of people, and even when it's not busy, it's usually pretty slow when I work there, but still, like, I'm still always meeting new people. And so I have like so many names coming in and out of my head, all the time. And also, nobody there wears name tags except for this one manager. And this one manager I've worked with for a while, so it's like he's like the one person that I would like know their name like the most and the easiest and the best. Like I would know their name. Besides that, their name is like a very common, like simple, like easy to spell kind of name, easy to remember, easy to spell. Just like a, but like a lot of these other people, like I've known that floor host for a little bit, like not known them, but like we've been coworkers and acquaintances for a little while, maybe a few months. But it's like when you first meet somebody like that, typically they'll introduce themselves like one time and they'll say their name. But then it's not like you always hear everybody just like calling each other by name after that. Like usually like all the months that we worked together after that, his name was just never really said out loud, or like I didn't hear anybody else say his name. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like every time people talk, they just address each other like, hey, name. Like, they'll just say stuff without putting the name in there. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but, and it's so awkward after you've seen somebody and like talked to them otherwise for a while. Like, you're familiar with their face, you're familiar with like just casually chatting with them and working with them. But then to like, after it's been like weeks or months since you've met them, to just randomly after that time period just be like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, but what's your name again? Like that just feels weird, you know what I mean? That just feels awkward. So I didn't want to do that with that guy because I would have felt bad, you know what I mean? And his name is not that common, like not as common and not as like easy to remember. But yeah, my favorite manager wears a name tag. But for me, he's like the one person that wouldn't, not the one, but he's one of the few people that wouldn't have to, where I'm just going to know his name because he's my favorite manager and he's worked there for a while. We've worked together for a while. Whereas a lot of the other employees have not been there as long, and I haven't worked with them as much. I'm not as familiar with them, and a lot of them come and go. So nobody else there wears a name tag. I really don't think I've seen anybody else, any other employee in that club wear a name tag. So, but I kind of wish they would, because again, there's so many people in that building and there's so many names just floating around all the time and with customers and just like everybody else. Anyway, so I was kind of thinking about going with the place that I had an appointment with for this morning, because yeah, it was recommended to me by that manager that had taken a look at my car, and they had the lower prices and this and that. So, but with them, they didn't, well, the guy on the phone when I called them didn't sound as like, I don't know, like friendly or reassuring. And I probably should have asked him, but he didn't say anything about doing a diagnostic to actually figure out what the problem was with my car that would have need to have been fixed. So, whereas the place this afternoon that I did end up going with, they said right on the phone right away without me having to ask. They were like, "We'll do a diagnostic, and then if you decide to get whatever needs to be fixed, if you decide to get it fixed here that same day, we'll waive the diagnostic fee." Um, so originally it was just like a thing where I was feeling like a bumpy feeling in my brakes when I was going to like slow down and stop. There was a longer stopping distance and the brake pedal just felt bumpy. So that was like the past couple of weeks. And then at first it was just that when I was talking to the floor host and the manager about it. But then shortly after that, just like a day or two after that was happening, I also was hearing a noise, like kind of like a light thumping. So after I heard that noise, I wanted to go back to that manager and ask him what he thought about that, because that was like a new issue that I hadn't mentioned, I hadn't noticed yet, we hadn't talked about yet. But I hadn't seen them. I made an appointment with these places, these car places, like as quickly as I could. So I didn't have time to, I was Googling this left and right. I mean, I was doing as much research on the internet as I could about it, just like all day, all night long, trying to figure this stuff out as best I could by myself on the internet. But there were just so many different things that I was reading online to where I was like, you know, even if the price is lower at the first place from this morning that I was thinking about maybe going with, even if the price would have been lower to get a certain thing done, it really wouldn't make sense to go with that option just for that reason if I don't know for sure that that work being done is what needs to be done, basically, because that could end up costing me more in the long run. Whereas to get the diagnostic and really figure out what the actual issue is, you know what I mean? Especially if they were going to waive that fee for the diagnostic, once I got the work done with that place. So yeah, I mean, I can only research and Google things so much online to where me not knowing anything about cars myself, you know what I mean? So anyways, and yeah, obviously I really didn't want to have to pull an all-nighter, like just so I can do a review on here on a breakfast bar that I had. I was like, well, if I pull an all-nighter, I have this protein bar in my bag that I could like come online and do a review for, because it's been pending in my bag for months, and that would be like a great reason to do it. But especially with my YouTube's like lagging lately, and like I've, you know, not been as excited to stream with that being an issue. I'm just doing this stream now just to test it out with the 5G. And also because, you know, like I do still like coming on here, but I really just want to fix the issue with my phone too before I really like do as much or try to do as much with my YouTube like I normally would try to be doing. Anyways, so I ended up not going to the place from this morning. Just because, yeah, I wanted to get the diagnostic, and I should have thought to call that place back and ask if they would do something like that, like do a diagnostic first. But by the time I thought of that, I was like already at work, and it was already like nighttime, and I'm pretty sure they were already closed and just that kind of thing. So, and like my appointment was for like the next day at this point. Like I made the appointment with both places like as soon as I could, as quickly as I could. And luckily both places were able to get me in, or they would have been able to get me in, both of them, like very quickly, pretty much the following day or so, aka today. So I didn't go to the place from this morning. I just wanted to try to get a little bit of sleep. And also it's been so windy lately. My place has been so cold that I was also kind of thinking, well, it's such a like big thing for me to get myself out the door once I'm in there. So I was also kind of thinking, well, if I pulled an all-nighter and went with the place from this morning, then I wouldn't have to do that process in the, you know what I mean, to like, I could skip that process for that morning of like having to go back and like try to get a little bit of sleep and then get back up and be freezing and stark naked in the kitchen, locking my clothes up in my fridge like I do before I leave. That's a long story as to why I do that for people that might not already know that from my previous videos where I've mentioned that a few times, but it's just so cold in there and I don't put the heat on and yada yada. So for me to get myself out the door to do anything is quite a process, and honestly very excruciating. It's freezing in there. I'm in my car right now. I don't have the heat on in my car. It's 41 degrees. I just don't like putting the heat on. It's just too much of a expense for me, and I try to tough out the cold as best I can when I can, unless I'm at work and not paying for it. The last shift that I did this past Tuesday night at the club, I was like, we have an oven in the kitchen, and I had that oven cranked up to like 700 degrees. Anyways, whatever. I don't agree with how they spend money on a lot of things anyways, so anyway, so back to what I was saying. I didn't go to the car appointment from this morning. I canceled that one, and I went to the one this afternoon instead, so I was able to get a little bit of sleep. Oh, but also now I'm like, okay, so I didn't have to go with the appointment from this morning just because my favorite manager recommended it. You know, like I can just make my own choices because I'm a strong, independent woman, and I can just like follow my instinct and my intuition and just make my own choices. And I know I'm being like really cheesy right now, but I'm kidding though, mostly. So yeah, I went with the place this afternoon, and pretty much like how I remembered them from years back. I did really like them today. The guy that worked in my car was called, well, his name is Elijah, and he was so cute. He was like just like a little cutie pie, and he made me feel very comfortable. He was like very nice. And yeah, I mean, like, I haven't driven my car around since that appointment. That was just like a few hours ago that I left there. Actually, like a couple of hours, pretty much. Yeah, that was a couple hours ago. But I have run a few errands since then. You know, I went to the internet store. I'm at the grocery store now. So far, I don't hear the noise that I was hearing, and the brakes seem to be back to normal. Like, I don't notice the issue with that anymore either. So yeah, and it wasn't that much more expensive. I was kind of worrying that I might have to do the front and the back brake pads and rotors, but I ended up only having to do the back, which was nice. I was glad at least I didn't have to do both at the same time. And they said other than that, they think my car will probably pass the inspection because I have my inspection due next month. The manager originally was saying that he thought I might have to get new front tires, but I asked them. I did remember to ask them. I'm so glad I remembered to ask before I left. I asked the guy what he thought about that, and he was like, well, they're at 430 seconds, whatever the frick that means. I have to Google that. And he said, so they thought they would last me. They asked me how much I drive, which is not that much, and they said that'd probably last me until next spring or so, which is nice. I mean, I'm so used to driving in the snow, and they were like, well, they're not going to be good for driving in the snow, obviously, but I was like, I don't care. As long as they'll pass the inspection, that's all I really care about with that. I've never had snow tires on this car. I've never bothered to get snow tires, and I've driven this car through so many winters and so many storms. I just drive like an old lady, which I basically am an old lady at this point anyways, so, but yeah, you know, what did they say? They drive like your grandma's in the back, or your grandma's soup or something like that. Your grandma's like big pot of soup. So I love my grandma so much. She made me this hat too. She makes me so many little, and these. So I just drive like my grandma's in the back and soup or whatever. So anyways, what else was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I was at the internet store earlier, I was so happy to get that freaking stupid car crap taken care of today. So then I went to the internet store. I'll be honest though, I'm pretty sure I can see this stream lagging a little bit. I don't know. It just doesn't, I'm like really worried about this now. But at least I went to the internet store. I really was so tired after that car appointment, and just like I felt pretty drained. And then I called my phone place. I called my previous phone provider, cellular provider, on the phone, and that took a while to get through to someone on there. And then I was like, I really didn't want to drive to the internet store too, but I was like, just do it. And before that, I went to a different grocery store. I'm at a grocery store now, but I went to a different one before I went to the internet store. And yeah, it was really busy there. And so, but I was just really, you know, happy that I was at least able to get my my butt over to the internet place, even though I really didn't feel like going there. And the guy, Dominic, that had done the stuff on my phone this past Saturday, he told me he usually has Thursdays off, so I didn't even think he was going to be there. I just wanted to talk to at least somebody and see what they might think about this stuff that's been going on with my phone recently. But Dominic was there, you guys. He actually was there. And I asked him, I was like, I thought you said you had Thursdays off, Dominic. And he gave whatever reason he gave. But it was so funny to me that he was there. So yeah, in one of my last videos, I was kind of joking around a little bit. I was like, maybe like I should like make a YouTube live, like calling Dominic out on here and being like, what do you have to say for yourself for messing up my live streams? But I didn't have the energy to do that, and I would have felt bad, you know what I mean? But so if this stream doesn't work, if this stream doesn't post well, I might just do that, because at that point I'm just gonna be so pissed off. Because he told me that doing the 5G might fix this issue, might resolve it. So if this video is choppy and staticky and freezing up like the last few ones were, then I might just go in there again on a YouTube, still doing the YouTube live, all choppy and staticky and freezing up and lagging, whatever though, and just get him on there and show him and call him out and be like, Dominic, what do you have to say for yourself? We're doing a live interview right now as to why this is happening. He told me, I asked him too, he told me that my internet speed is still the same. Nothing else has really changed from before as far as that. So anyway. Oh, and it was so funny because when I went to the internet store, there were a few people in line in front of me, and I was like really tired at this point, and the bag that I carry around is like really heavy and stuff. So there were chairs like in the store, but they weren't near the line that I was waiting in. They were like much further away from the line, over by a TV or something. But it was like a sectional couch, and there were like two separate pieces, and they weren't very big. They looked like they were maybe like a two-seater pieces. Not super small, like not just like little chairs, like they were like pieces of a couch basically. But again, it was like two separate pieces of the couch that went together. So the separate pieces individually didn't look very heavy. Basically, I knew that I would be able to move them across the room if I wanted to. So that's what I did. After not very long of waiting in line, but long enough and too long for me, because also I'm not the most patient person, unfortunately, and I was also very tired at this point, or all day long. I'm always tired, you know. I had done a 10-hour night shift the night before, and then I was going on less than 5 hours of sleep for the day doing all this like annoying stuff. So I ended up dragging one of the chair sectionals like from where it was, like all the way across the room over to where the line was that I was waiting in, and just sat my ass down in it. But it's kind of funny because it was so cute. There was this old couple sitting in the other part of the chair, like the other piece of it next to that piece that I moved. And they were cute because I didn't want to be rude. So I was just like, they were both sitting on the one piece, the other piece, thankfully. So the spare piece was like, nobody was sitting on it. But I still didn't want to be rude. So as I was like dragging it away from them, I was like, oh, excuse me, sorry, I just I'm very tired. I want this chair. I was like, you don't mind, do you? No. And they kind of like, they were nice, like they seemed like they thought it was funny and like they were getting a kick out of it. So, and then I don't know what the lady said, but she said something that was kind of funny. And at first, literally right after I did that and moved the chair across the room, the people in front of me in line, like, started to look like they were leaving. They, like, went across the other side of the store, too, to, like, go look at other phones. So at first, I thought they were finished with the counter, like, with the service, with Dominic, with the service representative. But then I noticed on the counter their phones were still there. So at first I was like, I looked at the couple and the lady and I was like, it worked, like that made the line move, and they laughed and stuff. But then I noticed the phones on the counter and I was like, oh, never mind. I went back over to the old couple and I was like, never mind. Their phones are still there. I guess they're not done. So yeah, I took the other part of the couch chair thing and, you know, with me, and didn't want to be rude or anything, but they were laughing, so, you know. And shortly after that, I got to speak with Dominic, and he recommended that I try going on the 5G, which I'm on now. So, yeah, I hope this video does okay. I hope it posts better than my previous ones have been. So I'm gonna wrap this up for now. I want to get into the grocery store and get more food. Oh, but some other nice news for today. I got a text message from Taz earlier today, and she said that she's moving into a new apartment. I'm not sure. She had mentioned something about applying for one recently. I'm not sure if this is the same one that she was talking about before, or the one that she was talking about before sounded really nice, like a 3-bedroom kind of thing. She said this one is like just downstairs from where she's been at recently. So I'm not sure if this is like the same place that she was talking about a few weeks ago, or if this is, either way, it's going to be a new thing, I guess. And she was saying that maybe I could come over sometime and stream there. Like maybe we could do a YouTube video from there. So I thought that was really nice and exciting to hear. So yeah, I was immediately like, fuck yeah, like let's do it, you know? So yeah, that's like also nice, exciting news. And my car seems to be working properly again. Thank gosh. I am really happy that I ended up going with the place for this afternoon, my afternoon appointment for the place. That was just what my instincts were telling me, like just get the diagnostic with the car first. So I really know for sure, like we'll have more of an idea, hopefully, of like what actually needs to be fixed in my car. And I am really glad that I did that, because I actually thought that if anything, it would have been, if I was going to do just the front or the back with the brake pads and the rotors, I would have originally thought that it would be the front that I was going to have to do, because I thought that's where I was hearing the noise, like most of the tapping noise, but it was actually the back. So it was good to get the diagnostic first. And, you know, yeah. And I wasn't feeling anything in the steering wheel, which, yeah, I guess if it had been the front end that was the issue, I probably would have felt more of something in the steering wheel compared to just the brake pedal. And then now that I think about it, the tapping noise, all I know about the tapping noise is that it was coming from the right side. But he said like it was really mainly the back right rotor. He showed me a picture of it. It was so bad looking in the picture. I was like, that makes sense. So yeah, so I was really happy to get that taken care of though today. And so if we can just have this video post well and be less choppy and staticky compared to the last ones that I've done recently, then that would be like a third great thing for today. So if that's not the case, then I might just have to go back to the internet store and do a live interview with Dominic as to why, you know what I mean? So that could still be fun too. That would be so funny. He's a very like non-animated kind of person from what I see of him in the store, from what I've seen of him so far as a service representative or whatever they call it. Sales representative, service representative. Like I was very different than how I am. I feel like I'm a pretty animated person, at least when I'm on here, like on my YouTube doing these videos. This guy Dominic at the internet store, he's just like, from what I've seen of him, like in the store, he's like very quiet and just very like calm, just very like chill, very quiet, very calm, very chill, mellow, just very mellow. It is honestly so funny to me to try to like imagine what his reaction would be if I had him on camera, like going back into that store. Like, what do you have to say for yourself? Why are my streams still lagging, Dominic? Because I'm pretty sure the look on his face would just be like very, I can't even do it, but it would just be like kind of non-reactive and not it's very funny to me to think about right now. And then I could even bring back out my flashlight that I've used to interview people before. Be like, excuse me, Dominic, what do you have to say for yourself? Anyway, okay, so this video has somehow turned into 40 minutes long. Go figure. But the grocery store is still open, so that's good. I'm gonna go in there and get some yummy stuff. And oh yeah, okay. After I end this stream, I have to remember, I'm saying it out loud again now to remind myself, I have to remember to switch off the 5G option and put the Wi-Fi option back on, because that apparently saves data on your phone. Learn something new every day, or well, at least today I did. Yeah. Hopefully you guys did too. Somebody out there maybe. Perhaps someone. I feel like I never know anything about stuff, so. But yeah, I feel like I kind of learned something today, or I want to think that I did. We'll see how this video posts. I'm very interested. This is a very interesting little experiment for me here on this channel with this video, to see how this goes. I hope you guys are well. Oh, it's a full moon too, I'm pretty sure. It looks like a pretty full moon over here tonight. I can see it right now. And I mean, I can see it now, but there were places earlier where I was driving when I was driving in other areas, other locations, where I could see it like a lot better. It was like really, really big in certain spots that I was seeing before when I was driving around with my newly fixed car. Yay! So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well out there, and so glad that I was able to make some time to come on tonight. And even though it's dark out, I think I found a decent enough parking spot where I'm kind of under a light. A parking lot. What do you call these? Parking lot lights? It's not a street lamp. A parking lot lamp? Parking lot light? I'm under a light, so hopefully you guys can see me okay. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to come back on sooner than later. Hopefully this post's okay. Try to keep you guys updated, but I'm gonna peace out for now. Go get some yummies. Oh my gosh, my stomach just growled. I don't know if you guys could hear that. Bye for now, guys.